Welcome back, everyone. Security by obscurity is something that people in the IT industry in particular tend to react to with skepticism, because hiding errors instead of fixing them is not really a long-term guarantee of security. In the area of corporate and asset structures, however, it can be advisable not to wear your supposedly secure system on your sleeve or even to advertise it with pride. In this video, we take a closer look at why too much transparency is more harmful. This is Wealthlocity. Here you create, protect, and grow your wealth fast. Security by obscurity is something that people in the IT industry in particular tend to react to with skepticism, because hiding errors instead of fixing them is not really a long-term guarantee of security. In the area of corporate and asset structures, however, it can be advisable not to wear your supposedly secure system on your sleeve or even to advertise it with pride. In this video, we take a closer look at why too much transparency is more harmful. 1. If everything is legal, then I have nothing to hide, right? What is initially a legitimate question, at second glance presents the challenge that not everything that you think you are doing legally is actually legal. Many structures are based on a matter of interpretation or interpretations of laws that your own lawyer, tax advisor, or consultant may see in a different way, but another lawyer, tax office official, or law enforcement officer does not share this view. The more publicity your own setup gets, the greater the likelihood that someone will look at the weak point so closely that the opposing argument will be taken up by authorities or competitors with the aim of destroying the setup. 2. But I want to help others achieve the same as me. At first glance, that sounds like a noble goal, but on closer inspection, you should consider what motivates you to do it. If you want to monetize your own setup, that is, advise others on how to follow you for money, that is a business model. But you also take on a great deal of responsibility to ensure that what you are selling stands up to critical scrutiny. Lifestyle Solutions repeatedly receives customer inquiries from people who have been sold a certain setup by supposedly competent consultants who then quickly disappear as soon as the first weak points appear, or the customer asks too many critical questions. If you are not interested in money, but in the ideal that as many people as possible should benefit from a lifestyle like yours, there is a risk that governments and other governing bodies will be very quick to take countermeasures if an idea that does not correspond to the prevailing opinion gains too much momentum. If a few thousand creative entrepreneurs use a tax loophole, for example, this will work for many years at best. However, if this loophole appears in a mass medium such as the Bild newspaper or Kronenzeitung Blick for readers from ATCH, there will quickly be a lobby that campaigns for this loophole to be closed. If I explain my setup to others, they can help me optimize it. Yes, that can be true if you share your setup with the right people. However, the following principle is recommended. Don't tell your best friend what your worst enemy shouldn't know. In particular, tax advisors have been required by DAC 6 to report what you tell them to your tax office as a protocol for some time now. At best, you will receive tips on how to optimize something, but at the same time, the tax office will receive the same information and can work to stop your setup from working. Friends become enemies, life partners become bitter opponents, employees become independent competitors, and regular customers become troublemakers. If you give too many people full access to your setup in good times, there is a chance that they will use it against you in bad times to achieve their own goals. Because while you are investing time and money in reports and court proceedings, they are shaking up the market or your circle of friends. I document my setup in the cloud just for myself. The next Paradise Papers are sure to come. And then, what should be so private will suddenly be searchable on the internet for the whole planet. Even if private documentation is better for you than telling the world about it, always expect that everything will suddenly appear on the internet and your future ex-partner will suddenly see where you are hiding your assets. 5. I use a standard solution. Everyone knows it anyway. Don't overestimate the level of knowledge of those around you. Just because you know several people in your bubble who use the same or a very similar setup, it is completely unknown to others. And even if others know the setup, what advantage does it have if they now know that you use it too? Imagine a well-known YouTuber reports negatively about your standard solution, or a TV magazine makes a documentary about it. How would your personal environment or your customer base react the next day if they knew that you were using such a solution? How can I protect my improved setup from the public? It is difficult to avoid a certain amount of publicity these days thanks to transparency registers or imprint information. But beyond that, silence is the basis of a protected setup. What you don't tell anyone, no one can use against you. In addition, data economy on the internet is important. For example, if you always travel to the same places for business and report about it on social media, people might assume that you have economic interests in that place. Also, separate your external appearance from your background setup. Of course, you have to give customers a company name that you use to do business with the customer, but this company name does not have to be the one in which your assets are invested. This asset company, on the other hand, does not appear to customers, has no website, no domains, no telephone number, and ideally, not your name in the transparency register. As a further step, pay attention to your account movements. Because we live in an age of transparent payment flows, a hack at your bank or an official order to disclose your bank statements can quickly lead to what was previously hidden becoming public. So if money keeps flowing in certain directions, that is a reason to investigate. You also need an overview of who in your structure actually has what knowledge and whether this person has more knowledge than they should know. This need-to-know basis requires a certain level of healthy paranoia and helps you not to be unnecessarily generous with information. You should also have an overview of your network, that is, who of your contacts is connected to others with what knowledge, and can talk to others about their existing level of knowledge. Small talk can be your biggest enemy. What do I do now if too many people already know about my setup? Once data has been published, whether on the internet or in a personal network, it cannot be retrieved. In addition to the naive approach that nothing will happen, the effective alternative is to carefully restructure the setup and better control the information about the changes. A restructuring that is too radical and too fast carries the risk that existing knowledge holders will become suspicious if structures in their area of responsibility are eliminated or are no longer used to the same extent as before. Therefore, parallel operation between the old and new setup is often the option with the lowest risk, until you reach the point where the person affected by the part of the setup that is no longer being continued does not pose a significant risk because their area of responsibility has essential and relevant information or assets. Timing is particularly important here, as a change that is too fast or too slow can lead to knowledge holders taking advantage of their key positions. If you liked what you learned in this video, please let us know in the comments below, and we see you in the next video with more money in your pocket.